Oh my god! Why is the interface all screwy? We're off to a roaring start here on Write a Doctor Who from scratch. There we go. That's perfect. We should probably spin this, right? Like, because that's the format of the show. And the actor David Tennant roars into the lead. Alright, the 8th Doctor is in with 1 point. Missy as Doctor Who. There are currently 3 competitors for the vaunted spot of Doctor Who in Write a Doctor Who from scratch. Who's it gonna be? Who do we think it's gonna be? Alan is boring today. Alan, Bruce called you boring. Are you upset at being called bored, Alan?
Yeah, baby.
See what you did, Bruce? You monster. ERB Doctor. I do know what you mean though, because like there are 3 David Tennants on the wheel somehow again. But then it doesn't help that there's so many David Tennants out there talking shit about Alan Bruce. Yeah, no, David Tennant is like lovely. I know he's like really oversaturated on Doctor Who, and there's a lot of people who like hate him for that, but like that's not his fault. It's not his fault that he was fucking really good at it. You know what I mean? And I don't particularly love his run, but that's got nothing to do with him. He was great. Not sure why the Tories decided that the best thing to do while at power would be to pick a fight with David Tennant. My favourite David Tennant fact is that in the game Just Cause 3, he plays himself held prisoner by the tyrannical regime that you're overthrowing in your Just Cause. Hence the name of the video game, Just Cause 3. I think that's really funny, especially because when it happened, I think he'd only just started playing Doctor Who and stuff. So it wasn't really even that far into his career. But yeah, he just plays himself as like the radio host and the person who does like announcers. But the really weird thing about it is that he doesn't use his real voice, he uses his 10th Doctor voice to play himself. So it's David Tennant playing himself, but using the 10th Doctor voice. It's really weird. Finally! It picked one. The David Bowie Doctor. 2 Doctors, no. Give me some suggestions for companions. Ryan, if chat was put in Squid Game, who do you think would win? Who do you guys think it's gonna be? Who do you think is gonna win this game that ultimately comes down to random chance? Han Solo and Worf. That's Han Solo and Worf. That classic iconic duo. Who can forget all of the iconic moments that Han Solo and Worf have had together? Chewbacca can actually speak English, Han Solo just doesn't let him. You may be thinking to yourself, well, I mean, what about episodes 8 and 9 where Han Solo is dead and Chewbacca still goes like, oh. Well, you know how when you take a horse and you tie it to a pole and then you leave it for a while and then you take the tie off so that the horse is no longer tied to the pole and the horse is still not going to leave the circumference of the pole? That's kind of what it's like with Chewbacca. Like, he was just so traumatized by like being forced to never speak and only go that like he just never did it again. In fact, you know the most famous when it happens in Empire Strikes Back, when Han Solo is frozen in carbonite and Princess Leia says, I love you, and he says, I know, because he's a bastard man. Chewbacca going, no! That's actually an expression of joy. He can't even celebrate Life Day normally because of all the trauma. I know, it's horrible what that dirty Corellian smuggler did to our proud Wookiee companion and friend. Holiday Special is like a dream in the mind's eye of Chewbacca, who is sitting a prisoner on the Millennium Falcon, knowing in his heart of Wookiee hearts that he's never going to see his family again. Even Lumpy, especially Lumpy, all of that stuff, like just imagine Chewbacca sitting at the cockpit, like a single tear rolling down his eye. Holiday Special is surprisingly deep. It is now. So who was it again? It was Nissa and Tegan. It was a decidedly pedestrian choice. We gotta do monsters now, so think about what monsters you would like. Godzilla! Doctor Who versus Godzilla. Can you imagine such a thing? Quark! Quark, beloved bartender from Deep Space Nine. He'll be a little bit shady, but he'll do the right thing in the end. Definitely not the Doctor Who alien. No. We're doing Quark. Alright, let's read the story. Opening. Nissa and Tegan are holding their Opening, Nyssa and Tegan are holding their wedding at Quark's bar with the cast of DS9, Zack Snyder and Mr. Beast in attendance. Captain Sisko says, anyone object? But then the Quarks dive in, say they object and start threatening with their space guns. Worf tries to stop them but gets beaten up, even though this is DS9 and that kind of stuff doesn't really happen anymore. In fact, they treat his character with way more respect. Anyway, first plot point. The Doctor uses the fact he looks like David Bowie in an attempt to distract the Quarks, but it doesn't work because the Quarks are more into Roxy music. Midpoint. While trapped by the Quarks, Quark spills a drink, causing a mild kerfuffle, but everything is basically fine. Third plot point. The Doctor says he is a Starman. The Quarks are unimpressed because they are more fans of Roxy music. Climax. The Doctor remembers that this is Star Trek and everyone is armed and tells them they all have phaser. Star Trek uses the phaser they remember they have to kill the Quarks because they are Second Doctor villains and the Second Doctor loves murder almost as much as Patrick Troughton loved cheating on his wife. Resolution. Nyssa and Tegan get married and live a long, happy life safe from homophobic retcons. The end. Question mark?